Senator Comerford.
Thank you. Through you to our colleagues. With deep gratitude to the Senate President, the Chair of Ways and Means, and the Senate Chair of the Joint Committee on Transportation for reporting this bill favorably and for all of their support for this issue. I am delighted that the Senate is taking up S2258, an act facilitating better interactions between police officers and persons with autism spectrum disorder. We call this bill the Blue Envelope Bill. I also want to thank our Senate Chair of the Joint Committee on Children, Families, and Persons with Disability for raising up the fact for our Senate that this is indeed the 35th anniversary of the ADA, and how appropriate it is that we are taking up these three bills before us today. I am grateful to my colleagues for leading these other pieces of legislation. Many of you will remember that this bill was engrossed by the Senate last session. I refiled this bill this session with Representatives Mindy Daum and Sean Garbally. And sometimes, as we know in this body, as legislators, we hear an idea that makes us say, oh yeah, of course, we should do that bill. This is one of those ideas, this is one of those pieces of legislation. And as most good things come from our constituents, so did this bill. It came from a call to action by someone I am proud to represent and a family that has been dogged in their own activism. It is also supported by a number of very important advocacy groups that I will name in my closing. So as my colleagues know, many individuals with autism spectrum disorder, or ASD, drive independently. They live independent lives. Many individuals with ASD also experience communication and social interaction difficulties, repetitive behaviors, and increased sensitivities. Without adequate training, police officers may misread these actions of an individual on the autism spectrum disorder and use force or otherwise accelerate or allow an interaction to escalate in ways that could lead to a traumatic impact on an individual, physical injury, or even death for individuals. This is particularly true for neurodiverse people of color. The bill is modeled after a similar successful law implemented in Connecticut in 2020 and brought to my attention again by passionate constituents. It creates a voluntary and free blue envelope program for drivers and passengers with ASD. The blue envelope, and I have a copy here, serves to improve these interactions and increase public safety. The envelope holds a driver's license or a passenger's license in a pocket, registration and insurance cards, and on the outside of an envelope, it notifies police officers. Here it is. It notifies police officers about certain characteristics of people living with ASD. And on the back, on the other side, and again, we have to remember that this was crafted by people living with ASD and their families. It actually is a reminder for people, drivers with ASD, about what they can and should do to have a positive interaction with law enforcement. So thanks again to the families and all of the advocates who supported this bill. And I want to raise up particularly the Massachusetts State Police, which implemented this program on their own in April of 2024. I'd like to give a special shout out to the ARC of Massachusetts and Advocates for Autism in Massachusetts, or AFAM. They worked with the Massachusetts Chiefs of Police, and here I want to raise up a particular law enforcement official in my area, Chief John Pachorik of Deerfield, who became a passionate supporter of this. Also Chief Parham at the University of Massachusetts at Amherst, who really got behind this and helped reach their colleagues statewide. And of course, the State Police Association of Massachusetts. Now, friends, more than 8,500 blue envelopes have already been distributed in Massachusetts via police barracks and by mail. This is a voluntary effort. You might think, well, if the blue envelope program is already in process, why do we need this legislation? Well, I believe, and I believe the Senate, again, Senate President, Chair of Ways and Means, and our Transportation Chair believe that it is critical that we codify this into law, so our state statute says this is a protection that will be lasting. I also want to thank Senate Ways and Means for requiring in this legislation that the RMV work with the state police and autism advocacy organizations to also provide these free envelopes, making this program permanent and more easily accessible to anyone who may benefit from having a blue envelope available for them in their vehicle. Thank you so much, Mr. President, and I ask that when a vote on this is taken, it is taken by a call of the yeas and the nays.